Welcome, friends. Today we're going to tell a story that is a continuation of the story that we told before, and this story is called Life Comes to Earth. More than 4 billion years ago, Earth was a fiery, unstable planet. Volcanoes erupted across its surface. Space rocks pounded the crust. Slowly, the outer layers cooled, forming solid rock. Rain began to fall, creating great oceans. In these ancient oceans, something extraordinary occurred. The first life began. About 3.5 billion years ago, tiny single-celled organisms called prokaryotes appeared. These were the simplest forms of life without a nucleus. They absorbed nutrients from the water around them. Some of these microbes began using sunlight to make their own food. This process is called photosynthesis. As a byproduct, they released oxygen into the water and eventually into the air. Over millions of years, this oxygen transformed Earth's atmosphere. This is called the Great Oxidation Event, and it allowed new forms of life to evolve. Around 2 billion years ago, more complex cells appeared. These were called eukaryotic cells. They had nuclei and special parts called organelles. These cells joined together to form multicellular organisms, creatures made of many cells that could grow, move, and sense their surroundings. By 600 million years ago, soft-bodied animals lived in the oceans. They were simple, but they were true animals. Around 540 million years ago, during the Cambrian period, life rapidly diversified with what scientists call the Cambrian explosion. Hard-bodied animals, like trilobites, appeared. They had exoskeletons, legs, and eyes. From this point forward, fossils, the preserved remains or imprints of organisms, began to form more easily. Did you get that one, Liz? Soon the first animals with backbones appeared. These early fish had skulls, spines, and fins. Around the same time, simple plants began to grow on land. These moss-like plants didn't have roots or seeds yet, but they were followed by ferns and horsetails, which grew taller and covered the land in green. Beautiful. With plants came insects. Some developed wings and flew among the plants. Then, around 370 million years ago, the first amphibians appeared. Animals that lived part of their lives in the water and part of their lives on land. They were followed by reptiles, which laid hard-shelled eggs that didn't need to return to water. Reptiles adapted well to dry land and came in many forms. The Mesozoic era, called the Age of Reptiles, began around 250 million years ago. This was the time of the dinosaurs. Giant reptiles that walked, swam and flew. At the same time, conifer plants with cones and needles and, like our pine trees, spread across the land. Later, around 140 million years ago, flowering plants evolved. Their colourful petals and sweet nectar attracted insects and birds. Some small feathered reptiles learned to fly, and these became the first birds. Meanwhile, small warm-blooded mammals covered in fur and feeding their young with milk also evolved. Most remained small during the age of the reptiles. Then, about 66 million years ago, a great extinction wiped out the dinosaurs. After that, mammals began to grow larger and live in many different environments. All this time, the continents were not standing still. They slowly shifted positions on Earth's surface. Once, all the land was connected as a single supercontinent called Pangaea. And I know that Gina is amazing at putting together Pangaea. So if you would like to help me out, Gina, that would be wonderful.
Children can also make cakes and make their own puzzle.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't pull them out in a particularly easy order for you there, Gina. She's so good though. Yeah.
The white one is part of Antarctica. It's split into
Oh,
two
did they?
pieces.
Oh, I see.
Neat. Over millions of years, Pangaea broke apart and the continents drifted into the positions we know today. From the earliest single-celled life to the great forests, insects, reptiles, birds and mammal, life on Earth has been changing and adapting for billions of years. Every form of life plays a role in this grand story. But the story isn't over. Eventually, a new kind of animal appeared. One that could think, speak, make tools, and wonder about the world. That creature is us. And that story continues in the third great lesson, the coming of human beings.
so nice.